I've been talking to a lot of retail and consumer product companies over the last couple of days. The talk of the town, talk of the overall conference has been unified commerce or agentic commerce. There is a ton of opportunity out there in front of our retail and consumer product clients. But there is also the, some of the challenges that they've not probably thought about so far. One of the challenges I was talking about with our clients yesterday was around a state of data that they need to prepare for, the technology architecture that they need to prepare for, and honestly, the operating model around it, right? Because they've probably not thought about agentic commerce.
You're spot on. I think the talk of the town is agentic commerce. Core changes which is happening in the industry itself, especially in the retail. And I think one of the fundamental shift is happening is the consumer expectations and the way they search, the way they shop. I think from a Google perspective, Google AI mode has now close to 100 million monthly users. Okay, Gemini has 750 monthly active users. So you can see the way people are searching and shopping from a commerce perspective, that fundamental shift is happening. So retailers really need to catch up. And especially when we talk about agentic commerce, I think they're fairly behind. But there are some stats which we have seen that 76% of the AI agent use cases are seeing true ROI, whether within this year or at least in the next years.
Yeah, and brands too, right? Yes. Consumer products, like the brands are now slowly realizing that it's not just a retail momentum, retail phenomenon, because upstream brands will get, as if not more impacted by agents shopping. Agentic commerce to me is honestly, it's a structural change, if you will. It's not anything incremental. Like you cannot think about your existing processes around commerce and say, we will bolt on agentic AI or AI use cases on our existing processes. That's not what this whole journey is going to be about. You need to go beyond that and make sure your products are visible when agents start shopping. Like Kapil AI or Saurabh AI is shopping on your behalf. So that becomes like really, really pertinent for retail and consumer products companies to, start thinking and considering moving forward with.
It's one of the things when I talk to retailers, I often say that AI agents are actually, they don't browse like humans do, right? They actually match. The agentic experience is getting built on the retailer's website itself. We help them with the data foundation. We also ensure that product catalog is up to speed. The metadata is agent and AI ready, so that finally the retailer's agentic experience could be like really, really bespoke.
The catch-up curve is steepening quite a lot. So things around operating model, adoption, things around change management, whether the change management is incentivizing your customers to adopt what you offer, or the change management is for your own employees to be now thinking about agentic world and how agents are going to be shopping on customers' behalf. So those components become much more. And honestly, trust is something that takes a long time to build, but a fraction of it, and especially for agents. If the trust is broken between an agent and a retailer or a consumer brand, then that agent is never going to come back to that product again, right? So that inversion of trust is going to happen, is going to continue to even happen more in a faster manner.
I think the change and the talent is very, very critical. I think when we see, and we talk with a lot of retailers and brands, we are seeing that the people aspect is very critical. So we need to get them trained on AI. So we need to sort of democratize AI for all the associates. When we think about trust, we are thinking about identity resolution, right? When an agent comes on your behalf, is it really coming on your behalf or is it a rogue agent? So identity resolution is a very critical component. There's a lot of fundamentals of trust, like transparency is very critical. That's the fundamental shift which we are seeing, that in the agentic commerce, the trust will become very, very critical part, because it's very easy to break that trust, especially within the agentic commerce world.
Another thing that keeps coming up is where clients are today in terms of their journey. This is an evolution. This is not going to be like an overnight sort of, yes, you're ready for agentic commerce. It's an evolution. The way we define evolution is nascent to native, and there are stages in between that. But most companies today are somewhere in between nascent to aware stage. They're aware, their products sort of are visible. They've done a little bit of generative engine optimization. But in order for them to start going, up that maturity curve to become more compatible with agents, to become then native with agents, is going to take work. And work is not just going to be around technology and data, as we were talking about, it is going to be also around things, operating model, change management, trust, and these skills make a holistic ecosystem, if you will.
Yeah, one thing which, when we talk to retailers about the readiness, and you perfectly mentioned about the spectrum of the maturity, and we are seeing the maturity is varied between different retailers, right? There are always fast followers, there are leaders, and there's laggards. But one thing which we are always recommending from a readiness perspective is start with your data foundation, right? And especially in agentic commerce world, you have to focus on just not on your first party data, so not just your product catalog. Of course, you need to enrich your product catalog. I think first party data becomes very critical from a readiness perspective. And I think the other thing is the third party data. Its agent is going to go and figure out all that stuff on behalf of the consumer, that if there is a negative review, it's actually going to pull it out. From a readiness perspective, it is very critical that you focus on your first-party data, your third-party data, especially in the agentic commerce world.
The data currently, first-party, second-party, third-party data, has always informed how human behavior is going to pan out when consumers are buying those products online or in stores. For agents, how do you then utilize that, leverage that data, identify gaps in that data, start to fill in those gaps, and make sure you're agent ready